Ladies and gentlemen, Free Preacher presents the words of Jesus Christ.
Ah, ha, ha, ha. We got a new name, folks. We got the new name, the words of Jesus Christ. You know, it's not like the other one was such a bad name, but we just got us a new name.
We found a better one. Do what Jesus said.
Do it.
Do what Jesus said. Do what Jesus said. Just do what Jesus said. Do what Jesus said. Do what Jesus said. Do what Jesus said. Do what Jesus said.
Do it
Sing
one more
with me.
time.
Do what Jesus said. Do what Jesus said. Do what Jesus said. You just do what Jesus said.
And they were singing up in the mezzanine on that last one, man.
They were all five of them.
Yeah, all five of them people up there. Ah, ha, ha. Folks, I'm tickled to be back. I've been hearing it so much, I finally had to change up. They said nobody wants to see the back of your head. And so, hey, you get to see the front of my head, and it ain't much better, is it?
That's okay, as long as we see you one way or the other.
Yeah. And we got, we're tickled. This is Steve Roop over here, by the way. My name's Daniel. And we got this whole new thing. We're going to have a new book coming out sometime this year. I want to tell you what Jesus said about his own message. How did he describe his own message? He said, remember the word that I said unto you. Remember that. Because that's what I'm saying. Hey, why don't we start remembering what he said? And then he said, I have called you friends, for all things that I've heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. And here's the way I talked about it. Every single thing he heard face to face with his Father. Can you imagine that? Face to face with the Father in heaven. Father gave him a message. He said everything he heard face to face with his Father, he made known to you as a friend. He treated you like a friend by sharing you this godly message. If you'll only take him at his word.
Yep.
Yep.
That's like many times people ask, say, who's your best friend? And I'm thinking of the guys I grew up with, and I'm thinking of my college roommate, and I'm thinking of people I know here in Nashville. This is my best friend. Really.
Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it.
Way above everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because you want friends, you want friends in high places that can do things for you.
Well, that's the highest place.
You're friends with the governor, friends with the president, friends with some rich person or something. It's got a lot of perks that come along with it.
That's right.
But if you're friends with
Jesus.
Yee-wee!
Talk about perks.
Talk about perks, man. That's a serious perks right there, man. But these things have I told you, that when the time shall come, ye may remember that I told you of them. He didn't give us that message that people back then would understand it and believe it and go with it and stuff. It was a hard message. It was too hard. And he gave it, and he said another time, and we always pull this one back out from Mark 13:10, and the gospel must first be published among all nations.
Yeah.
How long ago was he talking to us?
When's that going to happen?
2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
He was talking to us 2,000 years ago. We don't know the exact dates, but we know for sure that 2,000 years ago he was talking to us. The date that he was crucified, there's no 100% guarantee. The date he was born, there's no guarantee. But in 23, he was on this earth. He was walking this earth. He was talking on this earth. 2,000 years ago exactly, he was on this world. What do you think about that?
Well, and the gospel must first be published among all nations. When's that going to happen?
Yeah, when's it going to happen?
You tell me.
The time has finally come.
It's already come.
It has come right now.
Yeah. That's the
Yep.
important thing to remember, folks. That time has come.
Right,
Most of the time, all of my life, that's been something in the future.
right.
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's not the second coming. It's not the him coming down and destroying the
Right.
world and all that stuff. That's not
the
right now.
rapture.
It could, yeah, it's not the rapture. It could happen today, tomorrow, next week, next year, who knows? But there's the one he talked about, the gospel must first be published. That was not for the rapture. That was for us to remember his gospel that he gave us.
Right, but that qualifier is now reality.
It's the reality right now. And that's why everything's opening up. Man, when we changed this name here about 6 weeks ago, we hadn't been doing shows for a while because been busy with some other stuff, but and my health has been bad.
And the
everything.
weather.
And the weather. Oh man, we had a heck of a snowstorm here in Nashville, man. I had never seen a snowstorm that lasted
It was
that
pretty,
long
though.
in Nashville. Yeah, pretty as long as you're
Pretty.
inside looking out. You didn't have to go nowhere.
Got a little cabin fever.
But then this week we've had this long week of rain, which melted all the snow, and that was good. But it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God.
Mm.
Now, which words would those be?
The red letter words.
They came from the mouth of God the Son.
Right?
They came straight from the mouth of God.
And you can find them in your Bible.
Yep. And then for proof, you know, you go to Luke 9:35, directly out of the mouth of God the Father, this is my beloved Son. Hear him. Here's God came all the way to earth to speak from this cloud. It says there came a voice out of the cloud. That's the Father. He said, this is my beloved Son. God came to earth to give him this bona fides. Yeah, he's claiming a lot of stuff. I'm down here to tell you, that is my Son. Hear him. That's as bona fide as you can get
That's
right
as
there,
bona
man.
fide as it gets.
You bet, man. So we're excited. We're glad to be here. Glad to be back with the show. Good to be here, man. I'm glad to be facing the camera, you know. I got my mask on. The reason I got my mask on is I didn't want to give none of you people at home any of my bad breath or any of my germs. The camera can pick that kind of stuff up, can it?
Well, I'm not sure about
No, I'm kidding. I'm too ugly, folks. That's why I had the camera on the back. My teeth are too nasty, man. So I agreed to put the camera up in front of me, but I still don't want you seeing my nasty teeth. When I get up here and I don't have the mask on, that'll mean there ain't no more COVID, no more flu and stuff, but it'll also mean I've been to the dentist and got my teeth
that.
fixed.
My teeth are beautiful. All four of them.
You know, there's something to be said for having no teeth versus having them nasty teeth like what I got.
Well, if you have no teeth, then you don't have ugly teeth.
That's right. That is correct, man.
Yeah. Look at this here. It says, the gospel, the words of Jesus Christ are searching for you. For you.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Looking for you. They're looking for you. Calling out to your attention.
Yeah,
And man, it's easy to find. You've probably got them right there on the shelf.
right. In the Bible. And then people every church in the world will read through those words of Jesus Christ. But when they really sit there and bear down on something, it's quite often it's Paul. They're talking about Paul said this, Paul said that, and they'll really tell you a whole lot of detail about it. They don't get into that detail so much about them red letter sayings of the Lord. Until now. Until now. Let these sayings sink down into your ears. That's right, that's him talking. He said, let them sink down into your ears, man. Let his words sink down into your ears. And he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. It couldn't have happened before. It could not have happened before. It wasn't time for it before. It's a hard message. It's a hard, complicated, detailed message, and humanity was not ready for it yet. But the times are changing, man, and I mean, I see it all the time that people are ready for the answer. Because what would be the one thing that we could do to help poor people all around the world? The words of Jesus Christ. What's the one thing that we could do that would start moving us towards peace on earth?
The words of Jesus Christ.
That's right. And what's the one thing that a human being could embrace to help them in a closer walk with God?
The words of Jesus Christ.
Just works out kind of good that way, don't it?
They will help your life be a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm. How about in John? He says, if a man loves me, he will keep my words.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
He will keep my words, not all the scripture, not all the Bible, which is all good. It's all good. Did you ever wonder how come he brought Paul in? Paul wasn't one of the 12 apostles. He picked his apostles. They was with him for the 3.5-year ministry. And then after he died, after he resurrected, and after he ascended unto heaven, he came back, and Paul was a Pharisee. Paul had been trained to be a Pharisee his whole life.
Paul was against Jesus.
He was big time against him. He was going around arresting people that was followers of Jesus, wasn't
Yeah, you got Stephen, I believe.
he? Yeah. And he didn't want nothing to do with it. And then Jesus came down there and knocked him down, and he stood up, he just sat up, and he was blind. He slapped him so hard with that. Was that a thunderbolt or
I don't
a
know what it
spiritual
was.
thunderbolt or what? Knocked him down and blind, and says, "How come you're persecuting me, Paul?" And he says, "Who's this? You know, this is Jesus. That's who it is." And so Paul came in, and Paul knew all how to do a church and everything. The apostles didn't know how to run a church or how to have a church. Most of them couldn't read or write. They were fishermen, laborers. They didn't know how to read or write even. And Paul came in there, and he helped get the church established that could carry through for 2,000 years until the gospel was published among all nations, until the time came. And that time has come, and it's thanks to Paul that did it. And I'm not going to talk bad. And folks, I've spent a lot of time talking bad about church leaders, and I was wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of stuff, and that's one wrong thing I won't never say. And some of them are bad crooks. Most of them are good people. Most church leaders really are good, decent people. It's them big old jet owning, mansion living,
House devouring.
house devouring. But I'm not going to even talk bad about them, because it's a different time now. Now it's time for the love and the forgiveness. And I'm supposed to love them people. Jesus he talked bad about them. He said this, he said, "Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrine the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men." And that's okay if I quote him, but I'm not going to go any farther. I'm not going to expound on that. I'm not going to expand on what he said, because he commanded me to forgive them. He commanded me to love them, regardless of what they do. But he said, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him. And we will come unto him and make our abode with him. That's the Father's going to love you for keeping them red letter words of Jesus. Jesus himself is going to love you, and they're going to come and make their abode with him. But what about that one? Who's that doesn't love him?
He that loveth me not keepeth not my sayings.
Yeah.
You know what this is really saying is, you can say you love me or you can say you don't love me, but I'm going to be looking at your actions.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what's going to tell me whether
Actions.
you love me or not.
You are so correct, sir. Right. You bet. Actions speak louder than words.
Wow, we should coin that phrase.
Man, that phrase might catch on.
That
Huh?
might catch on.
I wonder if they'll give us credit for that.
We're silly.
Oh man, let's see what else we got here. I know we're going to come back to this, but we're coming back to this one over and over and over, and we're going to write the book on it, remembering the words of Jesus Christ. And I think we're about ready for a song, ain't we?
Yeah, and this is not necessarily a gospel song, but it's a song I wrote called "I Am Your Friend," and I hope you like it. Danny's going to play along. It's in the key of C.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. I am your friend, and I will be right till the end. We us apart. I gave a promise to you at the start. Now's the time to be strong. The tears I'm crying truly come from the heart. That's where I found this song. My heart will be true. I'll be a friend forever to you. Gave a promise to you at the start. Now's the time to be strong. The tears I'm crying truly come from my heart. That's where I found the song. My heart will be true. I'll be a friend forever to you.
Man, that's pretty, man. That's a pretty song.
Before we go, let's introduce the crew.
Oh, yeah. Good point. We got the crew.
The crew.
Introduce them, man.
We got the
Introduce them.
crew. We got Walter.
Yeah.
What does he do?
Well,
He
He's-
sits back there and makes sure we don't mess up, don't we?
some shows, folks, some shows he don't ever say nothing. But when he says something, he's been batting 1,000. He's been right every time.
And then we got our tech guy,
Oh, yeah. Well, who's that?
Tommy.
Tommy.
Tommy takes care of us.
What about
technology-wise.
that pretty girl over there?
Samantha.
Oh, the
She's been a
lovely,
special light in my life for
the
20 some
lovely
years.
Samantha. That's
we
right.
used to go to school together. Yes, sir. We rode on the same bus.
Sweet Samantha, she's the
Our
announcer,
announcer.
co-producer. Tommy's
and
the tech
guitar
guy,
player
co-producer.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, she plays some guitar sometimes too. We're gonna get that going again too. But I want to talk about that song for a second. You know, it's not a Jesus song. It's a
No.
love song.
No, yeah.
But it's a Jesus song too when you're talking about a friend. Because Jesus is ready to be your friend if you'll just take him at his word.
Absolutely.
And you couldn't have a better friend in the whole world than that.
You sure couldn't.
So I guess we got to say goodbye, huh?
I guess we do.
Oh, that was a beautiful song, to be honest. That was really good. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing that.
Yeah.
But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed us being here. Thank you so much for being here with us today. God willing, Free Preacher will be back.
Bye.
Adios.